Really, we had to turn on heaters.
Ah, that's why I love Florida. Glad to be away from DC though.
Yeah, well, we don't like cold too much here in Texas. At least I don't like cold. So,
I like it if I have a fur coat.
right? Yeah, if you got a fur coat, you're fine, right? Hey,
Yep.
there's Willie. What's happening, Willie? All right, well, let's get this party started. Hello
Hello,
and good
everyone.
morning, good afternoon, everyone. Surely do appreciate y'all tuning in, especially if you're out there on YouTube. Hey, if you'd like to join us live, all you have to do is go to live.thelosttransition.com, all spelled out. Got to have the live and then the dot, and then thelosttransition.com. You'll be able to join us live here. We pop in here every Monday, same time, 12 Eastern Standard Time, excuse me. I felt that cough coming. And what we do is what I like to call a Monday Mastermind. We've been meeting here every Monday for at least 4 years now. Have not missed a beat. And the way that it works around here is we like to first off start with the audience members, those people that come in and they participate all the fun all the time. Those are the ones that we like to celebrate. And we like to hear their wins. And then we have a little bit of a instructional piece, if you will. A lot of times it's dealing with sales psychology. Today, specifically, we're doing week 45. What we're talking about is the psychology of framing and reframing, not so much from an objection standpoint, but more so from a mindset standpoint. And then if you guys pay close attention, that might actually help you from the objection side of the standpoint. The reason that I say that, and I know it might have sounded a little funny, because when you understand these things, again, like it makes your job so much simpler when it comes to doing sales, especially when you understand the emotional element that is involved, right? And I say that, and right away, I want to say, like I've said before, I say it all the time. It takes the exact same amount of energy to sell a $10 product as it does to sell $1,000 product or something that's more expensive. The only difference is the people that you're going to be talking to, or in our language, your avatar, right? The person that you most need to talk to. So, with that being said, we're going to talk about the psychology of framing and reframing. And we're going to drop some gold nuggets. Might want to take some notes, but we always like to start off with some wins from the audience. So, anybody got any wins that they want to share to start us off with? Yes, yes. Feel free. Virgil, if you'd like to.
Absolutely, I can
Sure.
get it started. Especially that if I want to get into the details of it, I could actually take the whole hour talking about my past weeks.
Well,
And
let's don't do that.
yeah, of course, I'll try to keep it short. I'm
I
gonna
do have
frame
at
it.
least 10 slides I gotta cover.
But I
You guys are
really
gonna
like
love
the
it.
topic of I really like the topic of today because it actually falls into some of the life experience that I'm calling wins and even that slam dunk of I'll keep it short. The week started with me consolidating two um, working collaboration that are gonna echo a lot in what I do. These were contacts that I was already working, and the framework beginning the relationship with both of them was that they were going to be clients. But going through the conversation and putting things in perspective of what I am personally trying to achieve on the ground, and also with my own goal, which is establishing my brand here and all this talk around marketing and such. Uh, after reevaluating the conversation and having these discovery meetings and interaction with these two, it became more interesting to build long-term collaboration. Whereas I was going to try to have a monetary value for our interaction right away, uh, incorporating their services in mine allows me to actually save a lot of money and time in execution in what will be coming. So that was a big win. And also along that, with the artist group that I'm trying to pull together, I had that first, what I call the first collaboration meeting, and I had a document prepared for them to sign in the process of these micro agreements, because the whole conversation might be very elongated in terms of setting time frame for it to be accomplished. So in the process, in the mind frame of giving them micro commitments, first, the commitment is among ourselves who are deciding to collaborate. I had this short form contract, and I already knew where the question were going to be, exactly the time frame of the agreement. And most of them that came in agreed with the conversation and had the same Q&A. And I positioned, as I just did, we're progressively going to get into these topics because we required this joint collaboration. Those that didn't show up really came through with a direct contact explaining why they couldn't and manifesting their will to join in. So that was a big win. And the biggest win of the week was, the weekend, was the fact that we were working on a rollout for this artist that I'm working with in terms of marketing and appearance. And we had the occasion to appear on a semi-live type TV show this weekend. And I was able to put together the merchandise, and he was able to secure the passage, and that went very well. And that time in also with the rest of the team's work at relation and promoting the product, and that was great. But what was really that slam dunk is that when we went there for his appearance, right before, and this is where the universe tends to conspire to offer you things that you're passionate about. And that's really what this moment was about, because the two guests, or speakers that opened before him, the first one started talking about funnel strategy and AI. And the second one started talking about networking, right? So they were right there in the subject of my passion. And right away through the whole noise of the situation, I heard the signal. You need to network with these two people. You need to get the cards, you need to get the contact going. And that was really that I found great, because out of nowhere, I didn't expect to have two guest speakers, uh, both covering the subject that I'm passionately putting forward, and also introducing this both in form of demonstration and such. So right there, the bells and the flags are up. Like, there's collaboration there. So I was able to network with them, get their contact, and initiate conversation. So I'm pretty psyched about that. So that was the series of win this week's, and pretty sure that they're gonna lead to more accomplishment. Hopefully, I'll live up to the bar.
Like,
So that
yeah,
was me.
I'm sure you will, brother. Congratulations. Just as a reminder too, you're dealing with musicians, right? Music artists.
Yeah, when we went there, well, the thing is, I'm going in many directions here because I am dealing with artists as one side of the service offer that the agency will propose or will deal with. And I'm also looking at dealing with small entrepreneurs, right? So when I went there, it really was for the showcase of the artist, but on the stage there was two entrepreneurs, online entrepreneurs, affiliate marketing entrepreneurs, in different words, but at the core, this was the essence of their conversation. So it was a perfect blend of all my passions right there on the set.
I love
So
it. I
yeah.
love it. Love it. I love it. And actually, I just shared the YouTube link that we're live on with a brother from another mother of mine who's also a musician, who I've mentioned to you before, over there in Florida by the name of Immaculate.
Okay.
Immaculate. Yeah, super, super cool dude. I've known him for many, many, many years, and he's got a lot of music out there. He just messaged me that he's potentially going to be talking to somebody. I'm not going to mention any names or anything because I don't want to screw anything up. But
Mhm.
potentially getting signed. He's got
Beautiful.
a lot of music and stuff out there, so maybe he can get
Beautiful.
some decent clients and have them all succeeding like that as well. I love that idea. But am I immaculate?
Absolutely.
Shout out to you, brother, if you're watching. But that's
Definitely.
great, brother. I love the fact that each week it just keeps getting better and better. It's better than a soap opera, I think.
Yeah. I think it comes down to that the universe rewards you with the energy that you put out there, and
Amen.
the cons and it's becoming a constant in throughout the conversation and the relationship that I'm building. That at one point people will just say, "I like the passion that you put in everything that we're doing right now," and I think that has beyond any expert display or whatnot. I think that that's been the winning card every time. Every time I speak to somebody, I'm passionately involved about what they're doing and how it can be made, or I can be a benefit to that with what I want to bring to the table. And they really connect with that energy. So,
Well,
if
100%.
anything, in terms
That's
of,
you
okay,
said the key thing there, right? Passionate. And we say that all the time. If you're not passionate about what you're doing, then why are you doing it? And if you're passionate about what their passion is, oh my God,
yeah,
man, great things can happen, right?
yeah,
I love
that
it.
is
Love the
definitely that.
direction, love the forward, upward progress and momentum. Keep tuning us in, brother. Keep us tuned in. Keep us close to
And
the fire.
and to be real, the whole week hasn't been all glory. There has been these dark moments, but counting your blessing, I think, is that fuel every
You're
time.
gonna
Every
love today then.
I hey, as always. Okay, that's it for me.
Yeah, you're gonna love today. The universe told me what you were thinking. You know how we roll around here. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you sharing. Anybody else got any wins they want to share? Hey, Dale. Appreciate you popping in. Hi, Jorge. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Willie. Good to see you all.
Hello, everyone.
Robert. So I can share something.
Sure, go ahead.
One thing is that the airplane that I was flying broke, so I had to look for another one. Yesterday, I went to donuts and coffee at an airport where a bunch of it's one of those airports where people own a hangar and they live in there, and they also own airplanes. So yesterday, with one of those friends, I asked him if he would give me a ride, and he said, "Well, yeah, let's go."
Heck yeah.
And it was actually tough because there was a lot of wind, but the only good thing is that it was aligned to the runway. That was the only good thing. Now,
Right.
so we took off. He owns an RV-4. That's an experimental airplane. One of the most popular, because that company has sold a lot of kits. But anyway, he has a very nice airplane. And once we went up there, I dare to mention, well, in maneuvers, I've done hard half turns and chandelles, but I've never done a loop or a roller or say, oh, okay, let's do one. So, so he actually gave me a loop, and then he did a couple of rolls, one to the left, another one to the right. And good thing that was it. Good thing he didn't continue doing more aerobatics, because those maneuvers are kind of I kind of stop. You experience a few G's doing that. So
Yeah, you feel
anyway, but that was great because I have done loops and rolls in my simulator,
Mhm.
but never in real flight. So that was good.
That sounds like fun, brother. So you've never done the loops and stuff until then, huh? Other than
Uh,
simulator?
yeah. I
How did you
like I
feel
said, I've done it in
afterwards?
the simulator, but not on real life. I
How
mean,
did you feel afterwards?
no, it was like I said, it was tough because the G's that you experience there,
Sure,
although after that we continue flying normally, then I I I didn't feel any or I was okay. I just felt the pressure while we did the maneuvers, the roll, the loop and the rolls.
sure.
But but then
How fast are you going?
the rest of the time was good. Well, that's another thing. That's a fast airplane. So
How
we
many
were
G's?
going about 135 knots.
Yeah,
So normally um, you have a small airplanes like a Piper Cub that flies about 90 miles per hour. The Cessnas, they go about 110, 120, but this little thing is fast.
yeah. I have to give my hat out to you because I'm looking at the picture of the plane, and when you said experimental, I went and looked at it. I was like, whoa, 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 that looks like a mini rocket, and it must be going fast. I have not that I have fear of heights, but I don't like to play around parachutes and bungee jumping and stuff like that. And that looks like you need to have nerves of steel just to get in there. And for a coffee, my hat goes out to
Yeah,
you.
the funny
Living
thing
on
is
the edge.
that after we parked the airplane and we were walking, and since actually the wind started blowing harder, then I mentioned, well, I don't think there are too many crazy people out there flying today.
I think
One thing is for
to
sure.
me sounds like fun,
One thing's for sure with nerves like that, you should have no issue with stage frights, conversation, cold
right?
breaking, because that requires some kind of like, very much.
Sure.
Anyways, wow, my hat's to you.
I love that. Thanks for sharing, Jorge. It sounds like you had a blast to me.
Yes, I did.
Good, good. Thank you for sharing. Jackie, what wins would you like to share, my friend, or anything in general?
Uh,
Great to
one,
see you, by the way.
thank you. Sorry I was late. I've got two wins really.
All
One
right.
one relates to the weekend and the training that I had on a Saturday afternoon. It, I didn't really understand what something was at all, the lost transition. I really didn't understand what it was. But then
Yes.
at some point, it like the oil got to the wheels and I understood what what was being said and why it was being said and how it was supposed to be used. And I thought, oh, Jackie, you are dim. Because it just took me so it took me so long to get it, but I've actually got it now. So I can see the benefit of it. So that's a win for me. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and the second win is a win, yeah. I've managed to get some documentation that I asked for from a business. So that's a win. So I can halfway get them to a lender. The only issue is that they're not quite ready. And so I've got to figure out where I can put them. That's a good problem
yeah.
because it's a good problem.
It's
But the win is that I got the documentation that I asked for from the business.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I've got two wins to share.
That's another one closer to funding, right? Like you
Yes,
said. So that's great. Congrats.
thank
Keep
you.
up the great work. Very soon I'll have this all completed for you to utilize to stay on track.
Yeah,
Even more businesses funded
and
and make it even quicker. And the process all done. You'll be able to go in there, put their info in there, put them for follow-up, all kinds of fun stuff.
yeah, and this literally is coming from the conversations. It
Now, you
literally,
came in a couple minutes late. I actually gave a quick sneak peek, quick sneak peek. You missed it.
well, I haven't missed it. I've got it now.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick sneak peek. Where is it? Where'd it go? Yeah, I gotta find it. Anyway, I was able to, by the way, those of you that are in inner circle, I finally got Claude going the way I needed it to. So all the pages are now more functional than they were to begin with. Looks a lot better. What I'm looking for though is where is it? Where is it? Oh my goodness. Now I can't find it.
Something idiot.
Well, I was looking for the Boss Baby page, but I
Well,
don't
while you're looking, I want a timing on what
I don't
Jackie
think
said there.
it's connected yet. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to timing. For me, Jackie, that's so much powerful what is happening because it goes back to that idea of creating that second wave, right? Finding where to put these people that you are halfway onboarding. At one point, when they're ready, they'll start coming back to you. And it also goes back to the strategy of creating that retention, right? Building them up, following their progress until they are ready to. So it's a whole bunch of ways. Not only have you built the strategy to start those micro conversion, micro lead assessment, but you now also have you're at the point where you can start building a retention strategy for those who fall in that in between categories, right? So for me, that's so much of a win on all sides. You have a contact and you have a ongoing relationship and a process to now build around that. Major for me.
There
Big
you
win.
go. Absolutely. For
And
sure.
now that they've submitted the documentation to you, you've kind of locked them into you. You've got their documentation, so they really can't, if they need funding, they've got to come to you because you have all their personal, I mean, they can go to somebody else, but chances are if they've sent you their documentation, they're
No, they
pretty much
can't.
married to you, you know.
I can't go to
Uh,
anybody else but Jackie.
Right, exactly. I mean, I have a very good friend I've known for 50 years in the real estate business. And you have to understand, sometimes that's the biggest hurdle to get over is
Oh
to
yeah,
get them to send
100%.
you all of their documentation that you need in order to get them, in his case, a mortgage, but in your case, a loan, right? And
Jackie's
so,
on point. She's
and,
got the following and getting, stays with the training that we're providing and stuff.
exactly right. So that's a
Yeah.
huge win, Jackie.
You
Congratulations.
go. You go, girl. Anybody else care to share any quick wins?
Yeah, I'm going to share. I don't know if I'm the last one, but I'm going anyway because I'm coming in
No, please do.
right behind Jackie. And
Please do.
Jackie, you have no idea of what I felt when you said what you said. And it's a good thing. It just says that you're open enough, transparent enough to admit that, I just didn't get it. And I remember being in a class with educators where I was the only one asking questions. And at the end of the 6 weeks, they said, "We're sure glad you asked questions." And I'm like, because we didn't understand either. I'm like, "Well, why didn't you ask?" I'm sitting here thinking like I'm dummy dumb. And I'm just like, what?
It happens.
Yes. So it's so refreshing to see when something really clicks. You know, you stuck with it. You
Yeah.
didn't just hang up and leave. You stuck with it, and then something clicked, and you were like, okay, you got all the connections going. I was watching you also, so that you
And may I, Rita?
yes.
Those are the moments for me that I love the most, the aha moments. Carry
Yes.
on. I yield. Carry on.
Absolutely. So I just say kudos to you. Never lose that spirit. If you don't understand, just stick it up there. What's it going to do? Nothing. Just do it.
Right.
And my wins is I never left, but physically I was not here. I was just somewhere else. But I'm here. I had to make a decision in terms of, are you ready to come back in the fold yet? I know I'm going back. So I did. And that commitment for me meant I'm ready to go in and get started. So I got rid of all the other noise that was not all of it, but the majority of it. So my head is now clear and I
Yeah.
know what I have to do. So I'm back on track and happy to be back and happy to see everybody.
Happy to see you again. We missed you.
I
Yeah, if
miss
you have things that are lingering and stuff you got to get done, always best to get those out of the way, you know. We tend to talk a lot about here is creating lists. One of those we talk about, you know, creating a 72-hour rule for yourself. If you have something that you need done within that 72 hours, put it on that list, right? So you get it done. Military style, since Dureo's here, we would just draw like a box with what we needed to do or get done, put it on a piece of paper, and when it was done, we'd check mark that box, right? The fact that you're writing it down is putting it in your subconscious. If you're putting a 72-hour time frame on it, that's giving you scarcity, meaning that you need to move forward. I like this, and I don't want to get too far off topic, but this takes me into a whole thing we could talk about when it comes to time management. All right. So thank you for sharing, Rita. Pleasure to have you back. Did you have something you wanted to say real quick, Virgil?
Was gonna say, coming back to what Rita said about um, Jackie, you heard your inner voice, the voice of truth, right? The voice that tells you, "Hey," and you realize that, yeah, that's true. That I have to do better. And listening to that voice, don't stop listening to that voice. That's the voice of confidence. The one that tells you, "Hey, you're acting weird," and you're like, "Yeah, true. I need to correct that." Don't stop listening to that. And that third person perspective is where you start learning so fast. That was
So that
just
I
my
love that. I love it. I love it, Virgil, because we didn't plan this, right? Again, this is we didn't plan this. Okay, so again, I love it when the universe works the way it's supposed to.
You know what else that does?
Go ahead.
It allows other people to think that, and I'm speaking from a classroom perspective, but we're just big kids, so
Sure.
everybody feels the same way. So
Yeah.
I see where that same conversation that, you know, it finally clicked, I got it, but not just that, it's that other people will feel like it's okay. You know, like Jackie didn't get it. She admitted it. Like, if I don't get it, you know, I'm going to say something. I don't care. I'm not wasting my time. But the fact that she was open enough to do that, there's another word for that, being open, but allowing us to see that side of her.
Vulnerability.
Yes, being
Sure.
vulnerable enough. Yes, yes, yes. And
I
that,
look at it like this, not to interrupt you, my apologies if I am. I look at it like this. If I've got a question, odds are other people might have that same question.
yes. And that's what happens in the classroom. The same thing.
Yeah.
People learn from what you said. And even when you were describing how it could be used for you and the light started coming on, then other people who may have been silent or may watch later might think, oh, I didn't think about that. So
Right.
it would
Right.
help them too. So yeah,
Well,
cool.
I obviously I take y'all's feedback, and y'all are the ones that are going to drive the features beyond this, right? So we have a few things to fix, and I've already started implementing those things. And I think it's going to be pretty badass, quite honestly. And if Claude AI says it's genius, It must be good. So Jackie will be able to go in there and do her thing, bring in all kinds of customers, clients, whatever she needs. It'll be great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. My quick win was as I mentioned, I told Rita, just to tell you a quick backstory because you got to understand my pain and what I've been dealing with and our inner circle. I've went through multiple changes for this website. And just the other day, I literally thought I lost it all. Like 6 months of work, $1,000, if not more, hours of my time just poof, gone. My backup for some reason didn't work. I was like just frustrated, but we were able to recover, thankfully, because we have common sense and we're able to recover. Uh, I've also learned a little bit more about not just Claude AI, but even ChatGPT when it comes to giving the right direction, command, and prompts and getting it to actually do what it is that you want without it making the mistakes and things that frustrate people like ourselves. Yes, the genius was at work. But that, and I'm feeling a lot better with this new chiropractor that I'm going to. I think I mentioned that last week. Like, and I'm not gonna say this because I'm trying to put any shade on the last chiropractor, but it was more of a come in, get adjusted, and leave. It was more like come get your oil change kind of thing. This chiropractor is really good. They started off with x-rays to actually see what was going on in my body before they started moving it around. Thought that was pretty groovy. And part of it, the best part is I get at least an 8-minute massage, man. So it's amazing. Give me a little TENS unit on my back, little massage, little adjustment, and then I'm right as right. So those are my wins. Want to celebrate those with you. Let's get this started because I do have some slides. And I gotta tell you too, there is a story that comes with these slides. There's Claude code, by the way. So we're going to be talking about the psychology of framing and reframing. Today is our Monday Mastermind. Like I said, I said it was week 45. You're keeping track? I don't know if y'all are keeping track here. Week 45. Huh. Middle of November. Are we paying attention here, folks? 2025 is almost gone. I had mentioned this in our inner circle training. I don't know about you guys, but uh, let me ask you there here. Anybody here excited for 2026 at all? I know I personally am. For me, every year, I don't know, maybe it's just the marketing in me or whatever, but every year I get excited for the new year. Like I'm not one that's like, oh no, another year. I get excited because this is the beauty of being able to create your future the way that you want it to be created. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit today about psychology of framing and reframing, which is in direct correlation to what we've already been talking about, even what Virgil mentioned, and the mindset and stuff like that, right? Because ultimately, my main goal here in the lost transition is to do what we can to help people attain the knowledge that they need to obtain to be able to transition from that job to what I like to call freedom. And by freedom, I mean whatever your freedom is, right? Working for yourself at home, being able to hang out here every Monday, especially, whatever it is, affiliate marketing, network marketing, sales. We want you to be able to come here. It's a safe place. You're going to learn something, have a good time. And part of why I'm saying all this dialogue is because even myself, when I'm in genius mode, I have challenges too. Don't think that people like myself or others don't have challenges. And it was a challenge to get these slides together for you guys today. And I'll tell you why, because I had originally thought about going one direction with it, got all these slides done, and they just weren't really what I was looking for. And then I thought about what the content was that we had put out, and I said, you know what? I got a better idea because, again, eventually, what we really want to do is move you into action, right? So have you hear enough information, you gather it enough, you're like, hey, I feel confident enough that I could do that, and then move into action. So the slides weren't the way that I wanted them. I went to a second idea. It's like, yeah, that's still just not what I want. And then something clicked in my mind. I was like, you know what we haven't done in a while? Well, we haven't done this certain thing. And then so you got to stick around at least until slide 9. I know everybody stays here the whole thing, the whole time, but you're going to love today because we're going to talk again about the psychology of framing and reframing. And Rita's like, what are you talking about right now, mister? Oh, I see that look on your face. I'm doing it on purpose, as you know. You're gonna love today, though. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna learn some things. Make sure you take some notes. Everybody ready? Yeah.
You got the Tom and Jerry thing going on.
Uh-oh, I've been caught. Like I said, stick around until at least the 9th one. Okay. First thing I want to talk about are actually asking, and in essence, this is meant to get inside your head a little bit, obviously. Okay, because what I want to do is I want to kind of teach you a little bit more about the psychology of framing and reframing when it comes to getting in your head. Because if you understand how to be able to get into your head, you'll be able to understand how to get into others' people's heads. Make sense? Everybody with me so far? Jackie, you look confused. I love you. You know I do. So what I mean, like when I'm talking about frames, I want to make sure that we have the context right so that you guys understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. We connect the dots and all that fun stuff, right? A lot of times when I'm talking about conversations, I'm talking about opening and closing doors. Dale really gets this. I know he does, right? When they're talking about frames or framing, it's similar to that, but it's almost like going inside of yourself. That's the best way that I can explain that. Okay. A lot of times we will get like stuck in a specific event, and then behind the story that we tell ourselves about it. Right. So maybe as an easy explanation that pops into my head, oh, maybe I'm not good enough, or I can't do that, or people tell me that I'll never be good enough for that. So those are some of the things that come to mind, right? But a frame is just a meaning that you attach to whatever that situation is. So you can frame something a particular way, and you can have a negative thought process behind it, or you can have a positive thought process behind it, right? The best way that I like to explain that and the way that I run my world in my mind is that no matter what I have in front of me that I might think that's negative, I'm always going to look to pull at least 2 positives out of that. Right? Quick little example that I can think of is a friend of mine that's going through some trials and tribulations right now, being there, discussing it, and I can automatically think of 2 things that were positive about the things that I went through that he's going through now. What that did is that allowed me to actually have empathy and understanding and actually do one of the key things that we talk about here in the sales or psychology world is to actually listen, right? By simply listening to what he had to say, I could be able to put myself in those shoes, pull 2 positives out of that, uh, kind of address those 2 positives, give them those 2 positives, and literally made his day better. Just like that. Why am I telling you this? Because first off, it's not about going and connecting with somebody and then trying to get a sale from that person. These are things that we're looking to do to build long-term relationships with, right? And the more that you're able to effectively communicate with somebody and make somebody's life better, make them happier, make them laugh, make them smile, the more they're going to want to have that communication and that association with you, right? Just makes sense. Like I can think of at least one guy off the top of my head. He's just always so happy. His energy is just he's infectious to be around, right? If he ever comes into town, it's like, hey, make sure you knock on my door, call me, I want to talk to you, right? But a lot of times, going back to the frame here in the slide that we're talking about, is we get stuck in our own frame. So our own frame being our own mind. Make sense? So I want to ask you a question just to think about. You can answer in the comments if you like. And I didn't say hi to Catherine. Hope she's still here. I think I miss Catherine. Hello. Pleasure to see you here. But I want you to think about maybe a recent situation where you were stuck. Like you felt stuck. And in that moment when you felt stuck, I want you to ask yourself, was it the situation that you felt stuck in? Or was it the frame around the situation? Remember, I told you I'm going to make you guys think today. So I hope you guys are taking some notes. But it happens, is what I'm saying. And many times, this is what causes stagnation, or it causes us to not move forward in what it is that we're trying to accomplish, right? Because of those little voices inside of our head saying, I remember them loudly, I'll get a real job, or you'll never make money online, right? All these other things. Yeah, anyway, we've all heard them, right? Point is to understand if you're framed or stuck within your own mind, we need to reframe how you're looking at things. Okay. So sometimes the problem isn't the tape, it's the angles. Right? Right? What do you think, Rita? Sometimes it's just the angle. In sales and life, a lot of times we'll sit here, right? We'll blame the prospect or the market or the partner, when really it might just be our angle. It might be the angle that we're trying to take as an example. Especially if we're out there and saying, hey, nice to meet you. Here, come check out my website. Right? That's obviously not the right angle that we want to take. But in this instance, right, in this slide, duct tape isn't good or bad, right? It's just how you use it. Same with your thoughts. Same thing if you're sitting there and you're thinking the situation is desperate. I can think of a few things that pop into my head without going into a roller coaster where I had recently a gentleman that popped in and said, oh my God, my friend is going to be homeless. And he was losing it. I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, there had to be a series of events that had to lead up to the point where she was going to be homeless. What happened to all that time in between, right? What were the thoughts? What was the framing in our mind? Obviously, framing wasn't right. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in that position. But if we tend to find ourselves in a certain situation, these are things that I've learned through the year and how I get out of a negative mindset and be able to figure out what it is that I need to do next to move forward. Right? Again, a lot of times it's just the angle. If you change the angle, well, then maybe that same problem makes a little bit more sense. Right? Again, just to make you think a little bit. Right? So, before I go too far, but as an example, right? Instead of saying something like, let me show you this, maybe try something. This is probably something you should write down. Instead of saying, let me show you this, try, would you be exploring to do? Would you be open to exploring a different method than what you've been doing before? That's a great one that comes off the top of my head. Write it down. Telling you, you're gonna be like, Dad, why didn't I write it down? He said something. We're dropping nuggets, right? Again, it's just how you frame whatever that angle is. So framing, these are so cute. Framing creates context before content, right? This comes true as well, even when it comes to framing how you reach out to somebody as a potential prospect or potential relationship, right? How you frame something really determines how everything that's going to come after that is received. If you frame it the right way, then you're not going to have, like I like to say, if you frame it the right way or say it the right way, you won't have those negative connotations pop up or what we know as objections. If I frame it the right way and I know what the prospect needs, and I answer the questions in advance that I know they're going to hear because I framed everything properly, then I'll never hear, well, I got to talk to my wife or I got to think about it or I don't have the money. But it all comes back to the framing. Everybody understand where I'm going with this yet? Like I mentioned at the beginning, I want you guys to think, I want to expand your mind a little bit to think it's not only the framing that comes in your mind, but also it leads right back to what you're trying to say to the potential prospect. How are you framing that prospect? Here's another example that pops off my head. Are they an apple, or orange, or a coconut? That's gonna matter how you frame your conversation right away. That's why I teach you guys that. This way I know right away, apple, orange, or coconut, boom, I know right away what my framing is and how to speak to that prospect. Everybody with me here so far? Jackie, you good?
100%.
I'm teasing, but I'm serious, right? Because when you get this, girl, you're going to be unstoppable. I'm telling you. Because if you're talking to 5 prospects that need your services, you'll get 3 or 4 in an hour. I'm telling you. I know this to be true. I know this will happen. Mark my words here publicly on YouTube, wherever. Everybody watching, right? Telling you, Jackie's gonna come back one of these days. She said, I got 3 or I got 4. She's gonna be excited. Telling you, it will happen. I've done it. I know it. But the framing, what I'm getting at, right, is if I can go and understand that that customer is an apple, orange, or a coconut, now I can go back to how do I frame for that particular customer? And then I got to think about, well, what's going on in those 12 minutes, right? If I'm doing 5 per hour, I only have 12 minutes for each person that I talk to. If the conversation is going well, then I'm going to continue the conversation. If I think, all right, well, yeah, this person needs a little more time, then I'll go ahead and do that, right? Just know, remember, it takes away from your other prospects that you have to talk to. But framing, just so that we're clear and understanding, I'm telling you this to connect it to each other so you get it, right? Oh, okay. Coconut. This is going to take me probably longer than 12 minutes. Get it? Wink, wink, right? Give me a thumbs up if you're with me. Yes? Okay. So reframing is important, right? Reframing turns a problem into a possibility. So now when we're looking at this, it's again going back to what I talked about and how we need to understand how to get into our mind in order to be able to get into others. You're dealing with other people that probably have negative mindsets, my friend. Right? It's like, what? Is the
You're
universe?
hitting on every point, bro. Wow, keep going. Sorry. You got me.
No, you're good. The universe is speaking to Virgil, as we can see. Right? Which is part of the state change. So if you do a state change, then guess what? You're reframing that person's mind. Even now, we want to expand on that. If somebody's thinking negatively or thinking that they want to tell you that they don't want to switch or don't want to do this or whatever, reframe it, turn it into a possibility. Well, what if we did this instead? Or have you tried this instead? I briefly mentioned that earlier, right? So you can actually reframe what it is that you're saying once you understand that maybe your original diagnosis of an apple wasn't right and they're more of an orange. Whoa. I see that orange tendency. Let's reframe this to make it more of a possibility. Well, what are you most concerned about? Listen, listen, listen. They give us the answer. Reframing comes out of our mouth. That's where reframing comes into play. Everybody with me? Yes? Okay, cool. Dale, you had a question. You loving these slides, Rita, or what?
Yes, I did. Where do I, in your boot camp, can I find an overview of the types of prospects again? Because
Yeah.
I'm really not very clear on that whole thing.
Yes.
The apple,
sure.
orange, and
Rita, I want to say that was day 2, didn't it? Wasn't it? I want to say that was day 2, Dale, I think.
okay, because I really need to go back and go through that boot camp because I
Sure.
still need to go through it and find out about the fonts and the colors and all of
sure.
that.
That's day 1.
Yeah, I know. I
Lots of
know that's day.
colors,
I know that's day one.
headspace.
But I need to because I really need to get clear on that because that's like critical. Because
sure,
if you
brother.
don't, if you can't figure that out, then you're just, you're like a fish out of water.
Yeah, you don't want to
You're
scare
wasting
people
your
off
time.
your page. You don't want to
You know,
scare them off.
yeah,
Don't scare
yeah.
the fish out.
No, no.
Hey, you like these slides, Dale?
Yeah, I do. I do like the slides. They're awesome.
Especially the
They're
duct tape,
awesome.
right?
Okay. So
Especially
that answers that question. Cool. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. I especially like the duct tape.
Yes.
I was laughing
Main
with
Star is a killer too.
I was laughing with Rita earlier. I said, isn't that funny that we have a conversation starting off with, hey, I got something to show you. Does it have duct tape involved?
I saw the sticky notes too. I'm like, oh,
All right, so reframe it. Right? Here's your duck notes and your sticky notes and your duct tape. What I'm getting at, there's always another way to stick the landing. Okay. I've mentioned this to Rita quite a few times, and I don't know, maybe you can speak on this or not. A lot of times when I say things, I don't try to say them how normally people would say them. I say them slightly backwards to get the mind rolling into action, if that makes sense. Rita, don't I talk a little funny?
well, how do you mean that? You are funny, but
Love it. How do you mean?
there
Perfect.
there are some things that you do shit, just like you said, like in this one, for example, stick the landing, and that's a play on the duct tape,
Right.
which, it's you have a different way of expressing things, which is good because it's not like up here, like woo, in the universe somewhere, and you got to sit there and figure it out for the next 3 hours. So
Sure.
very plain and succinct. I love this, by the way.
Good. I love it. I love that you love it.
And I
I
put it in
know.
the chat, but I'm gonna tell you, I want a copy.
What I didn't finish telling you guys in the prologue there is that I was battling with ChatGPT again because it was telling me how inappropriate some of these images we were trying to make. I'm like, we're talking about Muppets and duct tape here, okay? We're not trying to make anything inappropriate. This is all adults here. We appreciate comedy, but let's just get the slides the way we want them. There had to be at least 5 or 6 slides that it did not want to give me. Well, let me suggest this instead. I said, sure, whatever, That's how I deal with it now. Sure, whatever you feel like, whatever's going to pass the test. Just give me the slides so you're not waiting until the last minute. But I think I finished the slides probably about 30 minutes before we were done here. Anyway, There's always another way to stick the landing. Perfect example, right? I started off with something completely different for today's monologue and what I wanted to share and talk to you about. But that being said, on the consumer side of things, there's always another way of framing things too, right? That's really what I want to get at. When we understand how to pay attention to what that customer is saying, it's going to help us understand how to frame and or reframe what it is that we need to say, right? Oh, I don't have time right now. Oh, that's fine. You seem pretty busy. When do you think would be a great time to actually sit down and take a look at this? See how it's very pointed and directed what I just said? It's not, oh, okay, that's fine. Well, let me know whenever you're ready. That's more of a passive aggressive kind of take on things. Doesn't show that you're too serious or, you know, I don't know. To me, you can be more direct. But there's always other ways of looking at things is kind of the point here. Right? Here you go. The challenge of reframing though. Right? There are certain challenges with reframing, and most of that has to do with you understanding people better. Okay? Because if you reframe the wrong way, you might actually upset somebody. You might actually say the wrong thing. And then now, if you say the wrong thing, well, now you got to do a little what I like to call backpedaling, right? To try to reframe what you said because what you said originally was put out of context or you said it the wrong way. I like to say it this way. If a person doesn't understand, it's either they weren't explained it properly or oh shoot, they you didn't explain it properly or they didn't understand it right. Same difference, but it's all in again how you communicate, how you put that message out, right? So there are challenges to reframing, right? But if you can figure out whatever their filters are and you remove that filter, then now you've got a lot of truth behind what it is they're saying, doing, or as a person who they are, right? Again, a lot of this dives deeper into the psychology of people itself. And I'm telling you, when you really understand the psychology of how people act, how they tick, why they buy, man, it makes it so much simpler to have the conversation. Now, you want to be careful, though. I'm just saying off the top of my head, as a sales psychology coach, you don't want to be more of a psychologist than you are as somebody who's there to build a relationship with somebody. Make sense? Like you don't want to be talking to them as if they're sitting on the couch. But you do want to ask specific questions as if you're both standing there in a generic conversation, right? Mirroring what they do, mirroring the tonality of their voice, and then framing properly based off of whether you determine they're an apple, orange, or coconut based off of what they show you, right? And then, as I mentioned earlier, empathy. Empathy mends faster than an argument. So the last thing you want to do is piss somebody off while you're having a conversation, while you're trying to frame what it is that you're trying to offer, right? Because if you start an argument, well, that's a little bit harder to diffuse. I can show you, I can teach you, I've told you about it before. But ultimately, that's why we want to listen so that we have empathy, so that we're able to reframe the proper way. Guys, what I'm telling you too, I trust this is valuable information for you, and you'll take it and use it, even in your home life or the people that you deal with on a day-to-day basis. You know, maybe your family members or whatever. We have to always understand that whoever that person is, they might be going through something. We don't always know. So it's important for us to have empathy in general, right? So questions, going back to, what we were talking about before and why, one of the two biggest things that we talk about is learning how to ask questions and also how to tell stories, right? So let's think, what are the questions that we can ask people that get them thinking about why they should do what it is that you want them to do, right? Like as an example, so what do you think it would be like if we actually had some coaching and you knew how to sell better? What would that do to your world, your possibilities? Just an example. Again, these things come at me and I'm like, I can throw them at you. In the marketing world for me, because I've been doing it for so long, those ideas, the universe just literally, they just drop in my lap. Crazy, right? So changing perspective, slide number 9. You've made it this far. My apologies, we went a couple minutes over. But this is ultimately talking to you about changing your perspective from feeling stuck to seeing whatever possibilities are out there. If you're never open to the possibilities that are out there, then you're always going to be there feeling stuck, right? And then just to play off of the graphic, you really shouldn't even say much, right? But if you are feeling stuck, rip the tape off your mouth. Ask for help. Don't be afraid, right? There's people here that are in the community. There's myself, especially. If you have questions, challenges, concerns, that's what we're here for, right? So change your perspective. And then ultimately, to sum things up, reframe is what I want you guys to leave with today. And I want you to think about sometime this week when something occurs, I want you to look at how you're looking at it originally and see if there's an actual reframing that you can do to make it better. Okay. Refocus if you need to. Maybe it's because you do have so much this is just again stuff that comes off the top of my head. I might be talking to somebody universally. Maybe you have a lot of things to do that you feel so overwhelmed and you don't know where to start. That's a good one. All right. Reframe, refocus, say, well, what's the most important thing that I need to get done today? Throw it on that 72-hour piece of paper or time frame or whatever, and let's get it done. Right? Because the freedom for you to be able to do what it is that you want to do when you want to do it comes when you stop fighting whatever your limits are. Right? Once you accomplish and get over whatever those limits are, well, now you have freedom, right? Now I can go and say, okay, well, I'll do this from this time to this time. Once I'm done with this, in I'm going to go play video games because I've been working really hard at this website. I'll do that for a couple hours. And then I might come back, I'll grab my laptop, do a little bit more on that website because we need this done as quickly as possible so that a lot of people can benefit from what it is that we have to offer. And we're going to put that out in the marketplace, share it with all of you, and all of us will win, 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 win. So much winning. So much winning. Any comments, questions, feedback? Talk to me, people.
Powerful sauce. I mean, it's so much at the heart of a lot of the things that we have to go through. For example, the difficulties that I was having around consolidating one of those teams that I was working. I only found the resolution to reframing the problem, and uh, it also involved reframing my point of view at what I expected this collaboration to lead to, and instead of going against the grain of what was happening, that actually allowed me to open up in different possibilities, all to the advantage of the house and mine, win deal. And even this these conversation that or these wins that came about were all about reframing the the perspective that I had on that possible um, transaction that I was going after into a relationship. In the end, this all through the presentation, I was thinking about a Rubik's cube. Every situation becomes a Rubik's cube for us that we have to move and find the right balance depending on what we are looking to achieve, but also what the situation, the client, the audience, or life calls for. And to be agile, you constantly have to be
Hi, Tony.
able to properly reframe how you perceive things or how you expect things to be what the outcome is that you expect. And that's some powerful stuff. It never stops, right?
100%.
Because
Like
it evolves with
if you don't have
situation.
an outcome or an expectation of what it is that you're doing, then there's no sense of doing that either, right? Um, it comes to my mind what we're talking about is whenever somebody reaches out to me, it's like, okay, well, everybody's got a motive. What's your motive when you're reaching out to them? So if I can find out what that motive is of that person right away, I can determine how quickly and what direction I want that relationship to go very quickly. Right? That's something that I'm really good at doing. I'm really good at also getting in and out of conversations, listening to the pauses, things of that nature. But yeah, your biggest stoppage, I like to say, is those of us in the military or did any kind of Olympics know it's right between here, right? It's what we carry in our mind, and that's all going to stem from whatever happened in our past growing up. So if we were told that we're not good enough, we're going to have that belief in our head, unfortunately. That's programming, years, decades of programming that sometimes has to be reprogrammed or reworked before you're even going to get the slightest spark of going in the right direction to begin with.
Yeah.
At least from my
Even
personal experience.
even the essence of what we are doing here, what we are talking, this lost transition space, it requires a reframing of heart and mind to actually embark in this transition, right?
Beautifully put.
If losing your job becomes that inevitable problem that you cannot transcend, the only way you can do that to transcend that is to look at, well, it's not, if I'm being employed is because I have skills, and if these skills are valuable to somebody, what value can they bring to me? It's a total reframing of life, right? Perspective, values, understanding, and also even when we are handling objections, the most efficient way of handling objection is to reframing your perspective into putting yourself into the audience shoe. If you're asking this question, what do you really feel or what are you really trying to achieve? Changing that mirror effect that we keep talking about starts from reframing your own perspective. Let me put in myself in their shoes. If they're going to be asking this, or if they're saying this, or what would I say to that? It's 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 it it's something that it's palpable when you're playing chess, right? Because you're forced to project yourself into your opponent's mind and predict and well, see their move, right? So you have to reframe the whole
Right.
game into the other shoes, and that balance, it's everywhere. Master that, guys, and life takes on a different meaning because it's never what it seems to be, right? So
Absolutely, absolutely, brother. One final thing before everybody drops off. What you're saying, I had to write notes down here so I didn't forget this shit. When we're talking about the reframe, it just made me think about, what you said with the whole losing your job stuff. If you're not paying attention, like literally, you need to be paying attention. AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. And it is going to take people's jobs because they don't have the right skill set, which triggered a thought and emotion to talk to you guys about a post that I had seen on Facebook in one of the groups that I'm there for to try to connect and build relationships with, was a person saying that they were manifesting their perfect job to move to Idaho, I believe it was Idaho, wherever, Utah. Insert your place you want to move to, right? There's something to be said about manifestation, and I love that post. But at the same time, when you're in control of what it is that you do, that manifestation comes a little bit easier, right? If you work on whatever skill sets that will help you manifest quicker, i.e., learn how to sell, learn how to do communication. And I'm not trying to say this because I believe everybody should be in sales, even though everybody should be in sales, because we've been selling since birth, right? Um, but if you don't know how to sell a bottle of water or like, come on, you know what I'm saying? What's going to happen in times that are coming, hopefully not in the United States, when people can't get a bottle of water. You got extra water there. Well, here, sure you can give it out, but you know what I'm saying? Like there has to be some point in time a skill set level where you get out from underneath the rock and start learning how to talk to people to get what it is that you want or need. Let's put it that way. Let's not sugarcoat it. So communication, it is there. It's always going to be there, regardless of people are staying away from it because of the cellular devices and just text me or whatever. There's still people like us out there that need to have that conversation and are more into the belly to belly marketing and understand those things way better. So anyway, that's all I got. Had a blast with you guys today. I trust you guys got some value. We'll see some of you, if not all of you, on How To Tuesday, Wednesday with Virgil and myself. Have a fantastic day. TGIM. Let's go kick ass, take some names, and we'll see you all next